From a young age, stories about the Holy Mountain have always fascinated me. My grandfather used to sit around the campfire, his voice filled with the wisdom of the elders, telling of a legendary treasure hidden high in the mountain. His eyes sparkled in a special way, and I knew that this was the dream he never managed to fulfill. He said that the mountain held deep secrets and priceless riches, but that the true treasure could only be found by someone with a pure heart and an adventurous spirit. When my grandfather passed away, I felt a huge void. But along with the pain came an unwavering determination to honor his memory. I decided that I would be the one to find the treasure of the Holy Mountain. "Kwame, are you sure about this?" my mother asked, her eyes full of concern. "Yes, Mom. I need to do this. Not just for me, but for Grandpa too. He always wanted to find this treasure. I have to try." On the morning of my departure, the entire village gathered to see me off. Zola, the local healer and close friend of my family, came to me with an amulet in hand. "Kwame, take this with you. It's a protective amulet. It will protect you from the evils you encounter along the way." "Thank you, Zola. I'll take good care of him," I replied, feeling the weight of responsibility in my hands. I started my journey with a heart full of hope and an old map that my grandfather had left. With each step, I remembered the stories he told, and that gave me strength. But I soon realized that the trip would be more difficult than I imagined. After a few days of walking, I met Jabari, a fearless warrior known for his bravery. He was training near a stream and, when he saw me, he approached. "What's a young man like you doing here alone?" asked Jabari, with an intrigued look. "I'm on my way to the Holy Mountain. I'm looking for the treasure my grandfather always dreamed of finding. It's a dangerous journey. Do you need someone to ensure your safety? If you're willing to accompany me, it would be an honor," I replied, with a hopeful smile. Jabari agreed to accompany me, and with him by my side, I felt much safer. He was fearless and knew the dangers of the forest like no one else. During the nights, as we built fires, he told me stories of his battles, and I shared the legends that my grandfather had told me. "Kwame, do you really believe these stories?" asked Jabari one night as we looked at the stars. "I believe. And more than believing, I feel that finding this treasure is my destiny. I need to do this for him. Then we'll do it together. I promise to help you reach the top." The journey became less lonely with Jabari's company. We faced challenges together, from crossing raging rivers to avoiding wild animals. With each obstacle overcome, I felt that I was closer to my goal and more connected to my grandfather's spirit. Finally, when we saw the Holy Mountain on the horizon, my heart beat faster. It was closer than ever. I knew the biggest challenges were yet to come, but with Jabari by my side and Zola's blessing, I felt prepared for whatever came. "We're close, Kwame. I feel like something great awaits us," Jabari said, with a determined look. "Yes, Jabari. We will find this treasure, whatever it takes." And so, with renewed courage and the memory of my grandfather guiding my every step, I continued my journey, certain that the Holy Mountain would reveal its secrets and allow me to honor the legacy left to me. The Holy Mountain was getting closer and closer, and my heart was beating faster with each step. I, Kwame, was determined to discover what this mysterious mountain held. With Jabari by my side, I felt more confident to face the challenges that would certainly await us. He was a fearless warrior, and his presence was a guarantee of safety. We arrived at an ancient temple, its stones covered in moss and insignia that seemed to tell stories from time immemorial. The place exuded an aura of mystery and danger. "Careful, Kwame," Jabari said, scanning the ground ahead. "These ancient temples are known for their traps." As soon as he finished speaking, I felt the ground give way beneath my feet. Luckily, Jabari pulled me back in time to prevent me from falling into a pit full of sharp stakes. I warned you, he said with a wry smile. As we explored the temple, we came across a series of puzzles. The walls were covered in ancient symbols and inscriptions. We need someone who understands these inscriptions, I commented. It was then that we heard a soft sound of footsteps echoing through the temple. An enigmatic-looking man emerged from the shadows. My name is Tund, he said, with a mysterious smile. I'm a storyteller, and I know these riddles well. I can help you unlock the secrets of this place. How can we trust you? Asked Jabari, always suspicious. Because, replied Tund, I too am in search of the treasure of the Holy Mountain. Our destinies are intertwined. We decided to accept Tund's help, and he began analyzing the applications. These symbols, he explained, tell the story of a treasure that is not made of gold or jewels, but of wisdom and knowledge. To find the way, we must solve the riddles and overcome the traps that protect this place. With Tund guiding us, we were able to solve the riddles one by one. However, each solution seemed to trigger a new trap. At one point, we were surrounded by poisonous snakes. Don't move, Jabari whispered. They react to movement. Frozen with fear, we waited until the snakes moved away. That was close, I said, feeling my heart finally slow. Further on, we found a room with huge slabs of stone that were beginning to move, threatening to crush us. Quick, this way, shouted Tund, pointing to a narrow corridor. We ran as fast as we could and narrowly escaped. Finally, we reached a central chamber, where a large inscription dominated the wall. This is the heart of the temple, Tund said. Here we find the true nature of the treasure. The inscriptions spoke of profound knowledge, of an understanding of life and nature that surpassed any material wealth. But there are still more questions than answers, I said, feeling a mixture of frustration and fascination. These questions, replied Tund, are part of the journey. Each answer we find leads us to new questions, and so we continue to learn and grow. We left the temple with more wisdom than when we entered, but also with the awareness that there was much more to discover. The ancient inscriptions had given us valuable clues, but they had also left us with a sense of humility at the vastness of knowledge we did not yet possess. As we rested before continuing our journey, I felt a new determination grow within me. We are on the right track, he told Jabari and Tund. Treasure is not just the destination, but every step we take towards it. I agree, said Jabari, with a smile. And with Tund by our side, our chances of success are even greater. Let's go then, said Tund. There are still many challenges ahead, but I am confident that together we will be able to overcome them all. And so, with our spirits renewed and the wisdom of the temple guiding us, we continued our journey towards the Holy Mountain, ready to face whatever dangers and enigmas destiny had in store for us. The journey to the Enchanted Valley was exhausting, but the beauty of the place made us temporarily forget about our tiredness. Majestic trees, vibrantly colored flowers, and a crystal-clear river made up the scene. However, we knew that something awaited us, something that would test not only our physical strength, but also our soul. As we walked through the valley, an ethereal figure appeared before us. It was the guardian spirit of the valley, an entity of resplendent light that radiated an aura of wisdom and power. He stared at us and, without moving his lips, his voice echoed in our minds. To proceed, each of you must face your greatest fears and regrets, said the spirit. Only those who triumph over their own shadows will be able to continue. I, Kwame, was the first to be confronted. A fog enveloped me, and suddenly I was faced with a vision of my grandfather. He was sitting in his rocking chair, as I had seen him so many times, but his look was different, full of doubt and sadness. Kwame, my grandson, he began, why are you truly in search of this treasure? Is it to honor my memory or to satiate your own greed? I was paralyzed. The words cut deeper than any blade. I always thought I was doing this for him, but did my heart at some point stray to selfish desires? Grandpa, I always wanted to make your dream come true, I replied, my voice shaking. But maybe along the way, I lost focus. I'm sorry. He looked at me tenderly, and the vision dissipated, leaving me with a feeling of relief and renewal. I had faced my own heart and emerged stronger. Meanwhile, Jabari was transported to a vision of past battles. He was on the battlefield again, amidst screams and chaos. I saw his face contorted with pain and regret, memories of lost friends and defeats suffered. Jabari, you can't protect everyone, a voice echoed in the vision. You are not invincible. He lifted his head, tears streaming down his face. I know, he replied firmly. But I can fight to protect those I love. And that's enough. The vision faded, and Jabari seemed more serene, more resolute. Then, it was Tun's turn. He was surrounded by shadows, figures from his past. Betrayals, lies and mistakes he made came to light, each more painful than the last. Tund, a shadow spoke, you cannot escape the past. Your heart is scarred by your actions. He took a deep breath, facing the shadows with courage. I know I made mistakes, he said. But I also know that I can change, and this journey is a chance to rewrite my story. Like the others, the vision disappeared, leaving Tund lighter, freer. The guardian spirit appeared again, its expression now softer. You faced your own shadows and emerged victorious. You are ready to continue. The experience brought us even closer together. We shared our fears and regrets, and it strengthened the bonds between us. We felt that no matter what we found at the top of the mountain, we were already richer than before. Let's continue, said Jabari, with a determined smile. We have a mission to complete. Yes, agreed Tund. And now, we are ready for any challenge. I looked at my friends, feeling a surge of gratitude and determination. Let's go ahead, he said confidently. Together, we can face anything. And so, we leave the valley enchanted, our hearts lighter and our souls stronger. We were ready to face the next challenges, knowing that, in the end, the true treasure would be what we found within ourselves. As we climbed the last steep stretches of the holy mountain, I felt a growing tension in the air. The dense trees and lingering shadows created an almost mystical setting, as if the mountain itself was watching us. I, Kwame, was determined to reach the summit and unravel the mystery of the legendary treasure, but something deep within my being warned me of imminent danger. Kwame, Tund called, are you feeling this? He looked worried, something rare for the enigmatic storyteller who always maintained his composure. Yes, Tund. Something's not right, I replied, looking around for any sign of threat. Jabari, the fearless warrior, was just ahead, his senses heightened. Suddenly, an arrow whizzed past us, embedding itself in the nearest tree. Before we could react, a group of adventurers emerged from the shadows, led by a woman with a piercing gaze and an imposing posture. Finally, we meet, she said with a cold smile. I'm Nia, and this is the end of the line for you. Who are you, and what do you want? I asked, trying to remain calm as Jabari drew his sword, ready to fight. We're after the same treasure, Kwame. And believe me, we know a lot more about it than you think, Nia replied, gesturing for her companions to come forward. The battle that followed was fierce. Jabari fought with the skill of a seasoned warrior, and I did my best to defend myself. Tund, even injured, used his storyteller skills to create distractions and confuse his enemies. Amidst the chaos, I noticed that Nia was watching me with an intensity that went beyond mere rivalry. Tund, be careful, I shouted, seeing a sword about to hit him. Too late. He was seriously injured and fell to the ground with a groan of pain. It was at that moment that Nia decided to reveal the truth. Kwame, you have no idea who I am, do you? She said, a approaching me as I struggled to protect Tund. "What are you talking?" I asked, confused and exhausted. "I'm your sister, Kwame. I was taken by bandits when we were children. Our grandfather tried to find me but failed. Now, I'm here to claim what's rightfully mine." Her words hit me like a blow. "My sister? But how?" "Yes, Kwame. I am Nia. And although I was shaped by the cruelty of the bandits, I never forgot you. It's just that now, our priorities are different." The discovery shook me deeply. I always knew I had a lost sister, but I never imagined I would find her like this, like an enemy. The battle continued, but my mind was in turmoil. How could I fight my own sister? "Kwame, we need you," shouted Jabari, as he tried to contain his enemies. I knew I had to make a decision. Protecting my friends was the priority, but now there was a new layer of complexity. "Please, Nia," I begged, "it doesn't have to end like this. We can find a solution together." She hesitated for a moment, her eyes showing a flash of internal conflict. But before she could respond, one of his accomplices attacked Jabari, forcing me to divert my attention to protect my friend. The battle ended with Nia and her group retreating. They had managed to seriously injure Tund, but we survived. As we tended to Tund's wounds, the revelation about Nia hung heavy over me. "Kwame," Jabari said, placing a hand on my shoulder, "we need to move on. Tund needs to be taken care of, and we still have a mission to accomplish." "I know, Jabari," I replied, looking at the horizon. "But now, more than ever, we need to be united. We cannot let betrayal destroy us." With renewed determination, I continued the journey, knowing that finding the treasure would not be the only answer I sought. Nia's revelation changed everything, but it also gave me a new motivation to save my sister, not just from the world, but from herself. The Holy Mountain still held many secrets, and I was determined to discover them all. After days of strenuous climbing, I finally reached the summit of the Holy Mountain. Beside me were Zola, whose skills as a healer had saved us on several occasions, and Jabari, the fearless warrior who became more than a protector, but a true friend. The cold mountain wind bit our faces, but the sense of achievement warmed us inside. "We're here, Kwame," said Zola, with a tired but triumphant smile. Jabari nodded, his eyes fixed on the ancient shrine in front of us. With my heart racing, I approached the vault, the legendary place where the treasure was supposed to be hidden. My hands shook as I opened the heavy stone lid. What I found inside was nothing. The safe was empty. "It can't be," I muttered, disappointment seeping into my voice. "All this effort, for nothing?" Jabari placed a firm hand on my shoulder. "Wait, Kwame. Look around." It was then that I noticed the inscriptions on the walls of the sanctuary. Ancient texts, written in a language I could barely decipher. Zola approached and began reading aloud, translating what he could understand. "The true treasure is not of gold or jewels, but of knowledge and wisdom," she read, her voice echoing through the sanctuary. "The journey itself is the reward. The lessons learned, the challenges overcome and the bonds formed, that's what really matters." The words sank deep into my heart. Suddenly, everything made sense. My grandfather's stories, the difficulties we faced, the friendships we built. All of this was the real treasure. "Do you understand now, Kwame?" asked Zola, her wise eyes staring at me. "It's not about material wealth. It's about the growth and wisdom we acquire." As I pondered this, I heard the sound of rocks moving. I turned around and saw Nia, my lost sister, approaching. His face was marked with regret. "Kwame," she began, voice shaking. "Hi. I'm sorry about everything. I was consumed by greed and lost my way. But now I see what really matters." Before I could respond, the ground began to shake violently. The sanctuary was crumbling. "Get out of here now," shouted Jabari, pulling Zola towards the exit. I hesitated, looking at Nia. "Go, Kwame," she insisted. "I'll hold them back." With tears in my eyes, I ran to the exit, along with Zola and Jabari. Behind us, the shrine collapsed, taking Nia with it. "Your sacrifice saved us." As we descended the mountain, a feeling of peace came over me. We had not found material treasure, but something much more valuable. The journey changed who I was, and I knew my grandfather would have been proud. Back at the village, we were welcomed like heroes. Not because we found gold or jewels, but because we returned with stories of courage, wisdom, and friendship. I shared our experiences with everyone, and each lesson learned became a new tale to pass on. "Kwame," Zola said one evening as we watched the sunset, "you have found the true treasure. And now, you have a responsibility to share this wisdom with others." I nodded, feeling the weight and honor of this responsibility. My journey through the holy mountain was not just a quest for riches, but an odyssey of self-discovery and growth. And as I told our stories around the campfire, I realized that this was the true legacy my grandfather wanted me to find. Thus, I became not just an adventurer, but a wisdom keeper, ready to inspire future generations with the lessons of our incredible journey.